Alright, let's take Lugia out for a test flight. We have Calm Mind, Weakness Policy, Multiscale Lugia ready to wreak havoc. We have Aeroblast and Earth Power as our main damaging moves. And what we're going to do here is we're going to click the Calm Mind. We're going to get up to +1 into our special attack and special defense. Our special defense is going to be enormous at that point, but what we might want to do is we're going to click it a second time here to get up to +2 special attack, +2 special defense, and then we should have some respectable damage outputs with our Aeroblast and Earth Power. And then we have Recover as well to heal up Lugia and potentially reset our Multiscale, because when Lugia has its HP completely full, it takes less damage from attacks because of Multiscale. We also have Comfey here to help heal up Lugia with Floral Healing. With its Triage ability, all healing-based moves get a +3 priority, which means Comfey's Draining Kiss, while it does damage, it also heals. That's also going to have a +3 priority, so we can potentially sneak ahead of some pesky moves like, say, Rage Powder or Follow Me, and potentially get a little bit of damage up into our opponents, or we can go for that Floral Healing and heal up Lugia without having to worry about it being redirected. We also have Tailwind on Comfey here, which is a nice fun little tech here because you don't really expect to see the Tailwind coming off Comfey, so we can turn on the speed with Comfey if we need it. If not, well, it's there just in case. We have Rillaboom, Urshifu, and Incineroar to do some pretty good damage. We also have a nice Grass, Water, and Fire Core here. Both Urshifu and Incineroar can pivot out, while Rillaboom unfortunately does not have U-turn on its moveset, but we do have some nice synergy here. Both the Rillaboom and the Incineroar have Fake Out to lock out our opponents. We have Flare Blitz for some raw damage on Incineroar. We have Helping Hand to boost up the damage output of any of the Pokemon on the team, which means both Rillaboom and Urshifu will certainly appreciate that Helping Hand boost. Urshifu can dent things with close combat or go for Surging Strikes. It also has U-turn to get out of there, which could be really nice pivoting into either Lugia or Incineroar. And on top of that too, with the Rillaboom, we have some nice utility with Knockoff, since Incineroar doesn't have access to Knockoff because of the Helping Hand and Parting Shot, so we do have the Knockoff on Rillaboom to slap away some items instead. And then finally, we have Tornadus with Rain Dance to boost up Urshifu's Surging Strikes. We have Tailwind to benefit the entire team. And then we also have Bleak Wind Storm for a little bit of damage output. We also have a Terra Flying on Tornadus too, because in case we do need the extra firepower, we can pop that Terra Flying and go for the Bleak Wind Storm if needed. But it's highly unlikely that we're going to be able to live more than one hit with the Torn here, so take that with a grain of salt. Anyways, let's jump on in to some battles. Alright, we have a Terapagos team with Chi-Yu, Fluttermane, Amoonguss, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Urshifu. So, Lugia looks pretty decent here. Incineroar looks really nice as well alongside Urshifu, especially if we can get some damage off into Terapagos and then bring in Urshifu. That could be really nice. So, I think what we'll do here is we'll bring maybe Incin and Lugia, and then this way we have some Fake Out pressure. If my opponent brings Amoonguss, we can Flare Blitz into it and Aeroblast, so we could do something like that. I think Urshifu is going to be really nice here in the back, and I think Comfey. Yeah, I think we bring Comfey. And then that way too, we have Fake Out with Incineroar. We can potentially get a Calm Mind off of Lugia. If Terapagos does Terrastalize, keeping Lugia at its base typing might be for the best. Now, I am Grass Terra, so Chi-Yu might be a problem. Chi-Yu might actually be a little bit of a problem here for Lugia, but if we get a Fake Out off into it, get a Calm Mind, we should be able to live a hit from it, get our Weakness Policy, and then Earth Power. So, Terapagos, Chi-Yu. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Fake Out into the Chi-Yu slot. I'm going to go for a Calm Mind off of Lugia. And then I am going to hope I can live a hit from both of these Pokemon. And maybe recover. We'll see. So, I think we Calm Mind here. I think we Fake Out into Chi-Yu. Terapagos might go for Meteor Beam, and if it does, that's really bad for me. But on the off chance that it's Calm Mind, that might be even worse, because then it's getting a special defense boost as well. So My opponent didn't terrestrialize yet, so that is... Okay, so that is a little concerning that they do have the Calm Mind, but I can always Parting Shot into Urshifu. So there is that, at least for a saving grace. So I think what I'm going to do is... Lugia went for Terapagos. Chiyu flinched, so I didn't get to see what it wanted to do. Or at least I didn't notice the turn order. So I'm going to Parting Shot off of the Terapagos. Okay, they're going to give me my weakness policy, so that's going to just put me back up to +2 now. So there is that in the bare minimum, which means this Earth Power is going to clap hard. So if we do that, great. So Lugia is slower than the Chiyu, but faster than the Terapagos, so that's good to know. So we're going to get the Earth Power off into that, which means our special defense goes back up to being normal. And they're going to go for another Calm Mind, so that's getting a little bit concerning, but it's not the end of the world. I can always bring in the Urshifu. And if I remember right, I think my Lugia is slower than my Urshifu, so my Urshifu should be able to do some respectable damage to that Terapagos too. If my Lugia is faster, great, I double into it. I go for an Aeroblast, they eat the hit, and then I close combat. So we could do something like that. I could also just U-turn off of the Terapagos, just to break the Terra Shell, and then go for damage. So we could do something like that instead. Amoonguss is coming in. So let's see here. Terapagos is at +2 special defense, +1 special attack because of the Parting Shot. Right, Urshifu and Lugia. Alright, so Urshifu is faster than my Lugia, which I kind of suspected. But what I could do here is I can go for the Aeroblast and try to get it into the Terapagos, and I think I U-turn as well, regardless, into it, and then that way, if my opponent goes for the Rage Powder, great. I'll double into the Amoonguss, I'll get some good damage off, and I can always bring Incineroar back out. And plus, since it's Terapagos terastallizing, what I could do instead here is I can always pivot back into Incineroar, go for the Flare Blitz into this, and then have a good time. So Urshifu being faster than Lugia means that it's definitely faster than Terapagos, which is good. So it is Rocky Helmet, which is good to reveal. I think I bring in Incineroar here. Actually, Comfey could be really nice too. No, I'll leave Comfey in the back for now, because I think if I can get rid of Amoonguss, what I can do is I can go for the damage into the Terapagos. So if this gets rid of Amoonguss, great. So now what I could do is I could recover in front of this Terapagos, and I can go for another parting... Yeah, I can go for another Parting Shot into it, which might be for the best. We'll see how well we take this at +1, so... Incineroar didn't take that at all because that was a critical hit, but at least that gives me back Urshifu. The silver lining, I guess. I do want to heal up Lugia, and I want to go for another Calm Mind, and then that way I can take that a little bit better. And depending on what the last Pokemon is, if it's Single Strike, that could be really bad for Lugia too. But I still have my weakness policy. No, I don't. They already activated it. So my +2 special attack is nice right here. So it is Urshifu. So I'm going to recover with Lugia. And I'm going to Draining Kiss that Urshifu. And then that way, that's 4 times super effective fairy damage. Even better. I like you going for a Detect here because I'm faster than your Terapagos. So I'm going to get back some HP. And Comfey can always go for the... Comfey can always go for the Floral Healing into Lugia. So that's going to reactivate Multiscale. So if I can get their Urshifu off the field, even better. I really don't like the damage that's doing to Comfey here, but we can get back a lot of HP with the Draining Kiss. So there is that in the bare minimum. I'm going to go for a Calm Mind, and I'm going to Draining Kiss into the Urshifu. And then this way, too. If I get back the HP, great. They can try to Sucker Punch Lugia, but Lugia's just going to take it, no problem, because it won't do any damage. And if they Wicked Blow me, well, there's that. At least I have my own Urshifu in the back, so we're going to bring them down right to the red. So Comfey is actually going to heal all the way, and there is a Sucker Punch. That's going to fail, because we went for Calm Mind. So Comfey can handle the Urshifu, and Lugia can start chipping away at this Terapagos now. So we're now at +2 special defense and +3 special attack, so we should be able to do some really good damage. Yeah, I don't think Comfey lives another one relatively comfortably at this point, so I think I got to go for the Aeroblast into the Terapagos. I think I go for the Draining Kiss here. And if they detect, great. At least then I can get some damage off into the Terapagos. And I'm faster than Terapagos too, so I can always still recover. So I get some damage off, and then I can go for close combat off of my Rapid Strike. And my Rapid Strike is, well, I was going to say it's Focus Sash, but I took chip damage off the Rocky Helmet, so there is that. So we'll at least get the Aeroblast off. Ooh, Hyper Beam, okay. I did not know these things ran Hyper Beam, but hey, that's great. Urshifu can come in here and now close combat, so I do really like that. And it's leftovers Terapagos. Okay, so that's good to know. Now, I'm going to Earth Power the Terapagos, and I'm going to close combat it. And in theory, that should be more than enough at this range. And the only reason why I'm doing this instead of going for the Aeroblast is on the off chance I miss, because it's 95 accuracy. Not that it matters, because the Urshifu is going to finish the job with the close combat. So we do get rid of the Terapagos right then and there. So very happy about that. Lugia definitely outbulked a lot of my opponent's Pokemon there. And I'm kind of surprised about the Snarl off the Chiyu, but hey, I will take that. Good game to my opponent. Alright, we have a Terapagos team with Ting-Lu, Wo-Chien, Screamtail, Milotech, and Indeedee. So, honestly, this might be alright so long as we start getting some Calm Mind boosts off into Lugia. Now, the good news here is, outside of Terra's Starstorm, I don't see a good means of hitting Lugia for super effective damage. Now, they might have the Ice Beam on the Milotech, so that could be a little bit of a problem, but not the end of the world, per se. Yeah, alright, so I do really like the idea of bringing Comfey and Lugia together. I might bring Comfey in the back, I might bring Urshifu next to it, and then that way I can go for a U-turn into something here. So I do have the U-turn. I could U-turn into Comfey, or I could even U-turn into Incineroar. The Parting Shot's going to be really nice. So my opponent could go for the Trick Room between the Indeedee and the Screamtail. So I don't dislike going for the Parting Shot off Incineroar. I just got to make sure I don't Parting Shot into the Milotech and give it a +4 boost. Now, it would cancel out one of those stats, so it'd hit +3. But either way, I don't want to do that. That would be disgusting. Yeah. And that's also why we're not leading Incineroar, just on the off chance that it's Ting-Lu, or rather, on the off chance it was Milotech. So it's Ting-Lu and Screamtail here. They could go for Howl with Screamtail into Ting-Lu, which could be a little bit gross, but I'm going to Calm Mind with Lugia, and I'm going to go for the Surging Strikes and just try to get some good damage off into the Ting-Lu, because this thing is reducing my special attack output, so getting that off the field would be really nice for Lugia here. So Lugia is going to appreciate Ting-Lu losing that much HP. Now, if they just go Trick Room with Screamtail, that might be a really nice turn for me, so we'll get our special attack boost and our special defense. I'm kind of curious what the Screamtail has. Ruination off of Ting-Lu, that's fine. And there's the Trick Room. Alright, so Ting-Lu is now going to go first. I think, all things considered, I can switch in Incineroar, and I think I still go for Tinglu. I do have my Focus Sash intact, so if I can get rid of Tinglu, great. I don't dislike preserving Lugia, because I can always try to recover back some HP, and honestly, Parting Shot could be really nice as well. Flare Blitz will also do some decent damage, all things considered. I just need to make sure Urshifu doesn't flinch, and I should be golden for getting rid of this Tinglu. So we now have Tinglu off the field, which that's a huge pressure just gone. What I might do is, depending on what comes in here, I might fake out into whatever comes in for replacing Tinglu with Incineroar, and I might just U-turn out with Urshifu. The play rough didn't do that much, which was nice. So it's going to be Indeedee, so no fake out. All right. All things considering, though, I could always go Flare Blitz into the Screamtail, or rather the Indeedee, because the Indeedee might just redirect that. So we got 3 turns of Trick Room. What I could also do, too, is I could go for a Flare Blitz and a U-turn. Oh, you know what? I think what I want to do is I want a Parting Shot just to pivot out. And I think I want a U-turn. And then this way I can bring in Lugia and I can go for Comfey at the same time. Get them on the field together and start healing up Lugia. Go for Calm Mind. Because Tinglu is gone, I don't have to worry about Ruination. And if I can get healed up, that's great. So I'm going to bring in Comfey now, and I'll bring in Lugia off of Urshifu, and then that way, since it's a slower attack, I don't have to potentially worry about Screamtail. Now, the other thing, too, is Screamtail is still going to hit Urshifu, but that's not the worst thing imaginable. So I'm going to pivot into Lugia, and then this way, I can go for a Floral Healing into it. I can go for a Calm Mind. I don't think Screamtail gets taunt, so I should be alright at the end of the day. So I'll Floral Healing, I'll Calm Mind, and now we can start trying to get some bulk up. Or rather, I guess Calm Mind, but you get the point. We're going to try to get our defenses up a little bit with our special defense, and we can get a boost to our special attack or two. Lugia might be in a respectable position, so Screamtail is going to switch out. Is it going to be Terapagos? Yeah, it is Terapagos, so Terra Shift is coming out here, which, that's alright. If they want to go for Calm Minds with Terapagos, great. When Trick Room ends, what I can do is I can go for Close Combat into that thing. We just gotta get Indeedee out of the field, so interesting. They have skill swap on Indeedee, so Comfey is probably gonna have to switch out here, but that's not the worst thing because you can undo skill swap by switching. So this is the last turn of Trick Room. I kind of want to bring in Incineroar, and then I can fake out. And I don't think I saw a Psychic Seed when this thing switched in. No, okay, it does have a boost. So I'm going to go for an Aeroblast into it and see if we can pick it up at +1. I don't think so, because Indeedee does have that bulk in its favor. Now, this does leave the Terapagos with the potential to go for a Calm Mind of its own, but next turn I could potentially fake it out. I do have to get Screamtail off the field. Alright, so they're going to take my Multiscale too, so I might have to sub Lugia out again. But the good news is, at least I have physical attackers to hit Terapagos with, so there is that in the bare minimum. So, we're going to get our Aeroblast off. It's not enough to pick up. The Twisted Dimensions are now gone, and we do have 2 turns of Psychic Train, so I can't fake out, but in the bare minimum, what I can do is I can Flare Blitz into the Indeedee, and I can go for another Calm Mind, get a little bit bulkier with Lugia, and this way, too, At least, even though we still don't have our multiscale, Terapagos is a special attacker, so we'll at least get our special defense up, and we can start doing some damage. So there is that. Actually, I gotta double check something too. I think Indeedee put triage onto Lugia, which means I now have +3 priority on that. I need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it did do that. So that means Lugia might actually have a really fast recover. And if it does, great. We can benefit from that in the long run. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to Parting Shot into the Terapagos. And I do have triage. All right, so it's not perfect, but in the bare minimum, at least now what I can do is I can rely on recover at +3 priority regardless of if Trick Room goes back up or not. So Terapagos is going to Terrestrialize now, so they are going to get that extra benefit on their attacks. But the Psychic Terrain is now gone too. That's a considerable amount of damage into Incineroar, I'm not going to lie. We'll get our Aeroblast off into Screamtail, which that half-healthed it. That's really nice at the end of the day. And because this is a spread move, this might be alright for Incineroar. It's kind of... No, it's not. Alright. So, I have Comfey. Comfey can always go for Tailwind if I need it. I gotta find a way to crack through that Terapagos, which honestly Urshifu is probably my best bet of doing. But what I can do here is I can Floral Healing Lugia, I can Aeroblast into Screamtail and just get Screamtail off the field, and then I can gang up on the Terapagos. So we do have that in the bare minimum, so they'll go for a Play Rough into me. I'm okay with that, and this should be enough to pick up the Screamtail, so that's gone. Now what I can start doing is I can start getting bulkier with Lugia, try to get a little bit of chip damage off into Terapagos with Comfey. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, now what I need to do is now I need to recover. No, what I need to do is I need to close combat and I need to Aeroblast. That's what I need to do. Close combat's going to do a lot of damage. But what I could do too is I could also Detect a turn. We're gonna go for the close combat, and we're going to we're gonna Aeroblast. Yeah, we're gonna Aeroblast in close combat. So we got a huge amount of damage off into Terapagos, so that is a nice amount, and I don't think at this range they can get Lugia. I mean, it doesn't matter because we picked up the critical hit. Right on. Good job, Lugia. So another one bites the dust. That's actually turtle number 2 for today's video. So depending on the order, yeah, this is still going to be number 2. I was debating on putting this out first, but then I realized, I already had the one match filmed. Also, this is one of those rare, I'm filming over the course of 2 days, hence the different shirt compared to the beginning of the video and the intro. Also, hence why I am clean shaven, but anyways. The more you know with Espresso Shucko. Anyways, that was a pretty good game with my opponent there. The Tinglu was definitely a problem, but as soon as we got it off the field, great. No more Ruination, no more Vessel of Ruin. We got our Calm Minds off, and honestly, them giving me Triage is actually kind of funny because I could have gotten the HP back, especially if I was second guessing it. I could have tried to PP stall Terra Starstorm, because I think that's only I think that's got more PP than 5. I think it's a base 10 PP. Anyways, I don't remember. Good game to my opponent. All right, we have a Zamazenta team with Incineroar, Amoonguss, Porygon 2, Urshifu, and Raging Bolt. So the Terra Grass outside of Incineroar might actually be decent on Lugia. Yeah, alright, so I think, because there's no real means of blocking priority, I think I'm going to bring Lugia and Incineroar, and then I can go for Fake Out. Fake Out could be really nice into the Amoonguss. Could also be really nice into the Porygon too, and then that way I can also try to set up and get some decent damage. I think Comfey is going to come into the back, and we can pivot with Incineroar. And honestly, I think what I might do instead is I think I might lead Urshifu and Lugia with Incin in the back, and then Comfey in the back too. And then this way, Urshifu can always pivot into Incineroar, and if they bring their Incineroar, I'm not necessarily opposed to just switching out Urshifu and preserving, well, just preserving my Focus Sash in general, but also just making sure Urshifu just doesn't take a little bit of chip damage and maybe gets a 1-2, because you never know, they might go Raging Bolt too. So it's going to be Zamazenta and Incineroar into my Urshifu. So I don't dislike going for a Calm Mind off of Lugia. I also really don't mind potentially just switching out the Urshifu. So I don't want to bring Comfey in because Heavy Slam could do a lot of damage. So I think Incineroar might be alright. Now, if they just go straight Body Press, it's not great for Incineroar by any, yeah. It's throwing me out because we both have the Incineroars, and I'm also not using my shiny, so I could attempt to fake out the Zamazenta if they're Terapagos. That would be the only thing, because I do see them. The nice thing here, though, is they are going for their Terra immediately, so it's the Incineroar. Alright, so Zamazenta can be faked out, their Incineroar can be immune to it, and that's probably to get around the close combat, so I still at least have the Surging Strikes to do a little bit of damage. Now, the nice thing about Lugia is it is 4 times resistant to Body Press in its base typing, so if I get set up enough to the point that I'm happy... Oh, there's my weakness policy. Great. Alright, I'm now at +3. An Earth Power might do some decent damage into the Zamazenta. Yeah, alright. Earth Power might do some decent damage, and I think I'm just going to Helping Hand, honestly. I'll give Earth Power that 50% boost, and then take advantage of the fact that I have +3 special attack. And if I can get rid of Zamazenta, great. Then maybe I can set my sights on the... Alright! Not a single KO was made. We got the true Intimidate out with bringing in my Incineroar, so nice. All right, I am happy about that. Good game to match. All right, we have a Zacian crowned team potentially, because you do run into the odd Zacian without the Rusted Sword. But anyways, we have Zacian, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Chenpao, Pelipper, and Fluttermane. So what do we want to do? We have very prominent physical attackers on my opponent's side of the field with 4 of them. So Incineroar looks really nice here. The nice thing here too is we can intimidate the Zacian and the Ogerpon. We don't have to worry about them potentially holding a clear amulet. And if the Zacian is holding a clear amulet, then it's not going to be in crowned form, which is nice. So Torn might be nice here as well. Lugia might be okay in the back. And honestly, I like Urshifu. I really like Urshifu here since they might give us rain anyways with the Pelipper. So if we have the rain and we get speed, we can go for a Surging Strikes into stuff. We might actually have to use Urshifu as the main damage dealer for this one. So we might actually use our Terra on the Urshifu, which if we do, great. We can get some big damage with Surging Strikes into the Heart Flame. We can U-turn into the Rillaboom. We can U-turn or close combat the Chenpao, depending on if it's Terra Ghost or not. Overall, should be an okay time. So let's see what my opponent has for their 4 Pokemon, because they also hit the timer right at 0. So if they did, it might just be the top 4, which would be Rillaboom, Zacian, and then Ogerpon, Chenpao. So that might be it, which if it is, I really like getting rid of the Intrepid Sword boost right out of the gate. So it is not. It is going to be Chenpao and Rillaboom. So I can go for the Tailwind. I can go for a Flare Blitz potentially into the Rillaboom, get some huge damage off into that. Because I don't mind Sword of Ruin actually helping me in that sense. So I'm going to get the Tailwind off. I might just eat a Fake Out, and if I do, it's not the worst thing imaginable. I think the Chien-Pao has a Focus Sash, which is the main reason why I'm not trying to go for the Flare Blitz here. I want to get the Speed Boost off, and then if I get Torn off the field, Urshifu can come in here. So Chien-Pao is actually going to withdraw, so we're going to get Fluttermane coming in here, which Flatter Heart, that's an interesting translation right there, but all right. Speed boosting, booster energy, Fake Out into Torn. I have my Covert Cloak, so we should be getting rid of Rillaboom here, and if we do, great. I really like the idea of getting that thing off of the field. Unfortunately, we don't. So, we do have Tailwind. I could Bleakwind, and I could Flare Blitz into the Fluttermane slot, and this way too, I might pick up a Speed Drop into the Fluttermane. Not that that's going to help Incineroar in the long run, but it will help Urshifu. It will help Urshifu deal with some damage there. And if we can get Rillaboom off the field, Urshifu is going to have a really good time. Because Grassy Glide is going to be a problem for Urshifu here, but the other thing, too, is if we get Lugia in and Lugia gets some Calm Mind boosts, we could do some big damage to the Zacian. We got to get the Chien-Pao off the field for that. So, in priority order, I want to get Rillaboom gone. I want to get Chien-Pao gone. And then from there, I'm going to be in an okay position for Lugia in the endgame. Ironically, Lugia can handle the Rillaboom, but can't really do much against the Chien-Pao, so Torn gets the Rillaboom, which is nice. Fluttermane went with Protect, so that's alright. Maybe they're trying to outlive Tailwind turns, which I could see. If Chien-Pao comes in here, I don't mind bringing in Urshifu. So I kind of want to preserve Torn. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Parting Shot the Chien-Pao. I'm going to protect Torn this turn. And then I can always bring in Urshifu for the follow-up turn. Go for Terra Water and go for Surging Strikes into either of these two Pokemon. So we are finally seeing the Terra here. If it's... Okay, it is Chien-Pao, so if it's Terra Ghost, great. It's actually going to be Terra Ice. Alright. So they're just looking to do some big Ice-type damage. They might even go for Ice Spinner here, and if they go for Torn, well, Torn's going to be safe this turn. I don't mind going for the... Oh, it's Ice Shard. Alright. That's interesting. What do I think the odds are this is a clear amulet, though? I don't think it is. We're going to get our berry off with Incineroar, and honestly, preserving the Intimidate... Oh, you know what? Paying attention to the Intimidate drop would have told me that. Yeah. So anyways, we get a special attack and an attack drop off into the Chien-Pao. I should be able to live a... I should be able to live a Ice Shard with Torn. And I kind of want to bring Incineroar back. Lugia wouldn't be a bad thing to bring in either. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to Surging Strikes into the Fluttermane while I have Tailwind on this turn. And I'm going to pivot Incineroar in for the Torn. And this way, too, on the off chance that they went for another Ice Shard, great. Incineroar is going to give them another attack drop. And if I get Fluttermane off the field, that'll be really nice in the long run. So, Torn's going to switch out here. So, if I get rid of the Fluttermane and Chien-Pao stuck at -3 attack, that's going to be really nice. So, I do like that in the long run. Now, Ice-type attacks into Lugia could be really bad, but it should be okay at the end of the day. So, it looks like we are going to pick up the Fluttermane here. So, we just trapped Chien-Pao with a -3 attack drop. You love to see it. All right, so I'm curious what... So they called the Incineroar switch, but that's going to do absolutely nothing right there, which is nice. My Tailwind is finally gone, but now what I could do is, if it's Zacian, I can fake out into the Zacian slot. I can go for the close combat into the Chien-Pao. Or what I do is I go for the U-turn to bring in the Tornadus. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to U-turn into Chien-Pao. I think I'm going to fake out. We get the Tornadus in here, great. We can get our speed up, and then we can go for some bigger damage with the Urshifu. So we would at least have that. So we do get our fake out off. And like I said too, the Chien-Pao is at -3 attack. So that's going to be really big here. So we'll get the U-turn off. That also breaks a Focus Sash, which is going to be very handy. So we'll bring in Torn. I think I'm going to switch Incin out just to be able to get an Intimidate drop into the Zacian. And Torn is just coming in here to go for that Tailwind. So we'll get the Tailwind off. We'll switch Incineroar out. And then that way, we can always go Terra Water if we need it. Yeah, that's the big thing here. We'll bring in Lugia. And even if they give me a little bit of damage to Lugia, it should be alright because we do have the Multiscale. So I think Torn should live in Ice Shard at this range. The Sacred Sword wasn't really doing a whole lot at the end of the day, so we should be okay. I said that kind of weird, but it is what it is. So we got the Lugia in somewhat safely. No Ice Shard, which is nice. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, Incin can come in. If I get my weakness policy, I can always go for the Earth Power into the Zacian. Yeah, I could do that. Also, that did 2 damage. Alright, so no more Intrepid Sword boost for Zacian here. Alright. I'm going to fake out into that slot. And I kind of want to Aeroblast into the Chien-Pao here. Actually, I want to Calm Mind. I want to Calm Mind to get that special defense boost and the special attack boost, because Zacian does have some decent bulk at the end of the day. So I'll fake out. If they can knock out Incineroar, great. They're going to go for the Protect, so that's also kind of why I'm glad I didn't double into it right here. Oh, okay, they're just going to Protect with both of them, so I don't feel as crazy for just not trying to do that, but what I could do is I can Flare Blitz and Earth Power into the Zacian slot, and if I get it, great. Then Urshifu can come in here, we can get rid of the Zacian, and then we can just close combat the Chien-Pao. I think that's what we do here. At neutral attack, I don't think Zacian is cracking Lugia at this much HP. And we should do a respectable damage even at the +1, so I think at the end of the day, this should get Zacian off the field. So not enough with the Earth Power, but oh, they have Sword Stance. All right. So if Chien-Pao doesn't knock out Incineroar, Incineroar is going to get it off the field. Oh, Incineroar. Okay. Incineroar. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So you're going down to your own recoil, but Urshifu is going to finish the job for you, which I am definitely okay with. So my opponent tried to get cute there with the Sword Stance, and we're not letting them do that. We are denying that. So we'll get the close combat off into the Chien-Pao, and we're gonna Earth Power into it too, just for the accuracy, which honestly that wraps up really nicely. I am very happy about how that played out. The pivot with the Incineroar and the Urshifu was definitely huge there, and Zacian is still a scary Pokemon, so the fact that we were able to get it off the field relatively quickly was nice. The Intimidate drop, undoing Interpret Sword, was huge, and then the +1 Earth Power did a tremendous amount of damage too. Now, I don't necessarily think the Helping Hand would have did me any favors, but the fact that we had Chen Pao down to -3 attack was definitely huge for that as well. Anyways, good game to my opponent. Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out this Calm Mind Weakness Policy Lugia team. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it play out. We ended up going up against 2 different Terapagos teams, and Lugia just had a field day, and so did Urshifu, because Urshifu just does what Lugia cannot to Terapagos once Terapagos sets up, and that is major damage. Now, the nice thing here was we did pick up 1 KO into the Terapagos with a critical hit off of our Aeroblast, but Urshifu had to take most of that Terapagos' HP in the first place. And in the other match with the Terapagos here too, my opponent ended up giving us our weakness policy with Snarl off the Chi-Yu. So Lugia just said, thank you, I will take 1 step back and then hit you even harder because you just gave me my weakness policy. Lugia did really good work at the end of the day today. I am very happy about it. The Zamazenta came in here. We didn't even trade any KOs, and my opponent just saw that just raw intimidation. It's like if you watched Bleach back when you would see like Kenpachi show up and just the whole screen just shaking. Kind of like that right there. Lugia just showed off the Intimidate right there. It might be Incineroar's ability, but Lugia was definitely exerting that pressure, even though it's multi-scale. But anyways, we ended up having that right there. The Zamazenta just, that ended in like a couple of turns. We had the 2 different Terapagoses, and then we also played a Zacian team with Chen Pao, and just the raw amount of attack drops into my opponent's team just made my day here. We ended up having Tornadus pick off the Rillaboom, which was definitely a huge threat for my Urshifu, and Urshifu in turn then was able to apply pressure to the Chen Pao. It was kind of interesting into seeing the Terra Ice on that as well, but luckily here we got the +1 attack, or rather special attack, into Lugia, and our Earth Power just did so much raw damage, and my opponent had the potential to just bring it back with the Zacian going for the Sword Stance, but Incineroar just said, not today. Survived the -3 Sacred Sword with 1 HP from 47 HP, and then just finished off the Zacian with a Flare Blitz for the double up, which was just delightful. So overall, fairly happy with how the team played out as well. And also, props to Comfey for keeping Lugia as well healthy. So, very good as well. Anyways, thank you guys once again so much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think of the team down in the comments section below.